righteousness and victory of our struggle. M.I.T. faith in the sacred African way. With this faith, we'll overcome, come what may. I'm keeping the faith that the spirit of truth and justice, when crushed to earth, will rise again eternally. I'm trusting that the spirit in me will always rise up in you and me. M.I.T. faith in my God and my people, in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. M.I.T. faith in the sacred African way. With this faith, we'll overcome, come what may. With this faith, we'll overcome, come what may. With this faith, we'll overcome, come what
Beautifully done. That was beautiful, Baba Jeff. You've again, keeping with your excellence, you've continued to move this thing forward. That is such a beautiful opening for our Wose service. Good morning, afternoon to our Wose families, those who afternoon for those who are in the East Coast, morning for those who are on the West Coast. We want to say Ankh, Uja, Seneb, life, health, and prosperity. That's what we're wishing for and praying for each and every one of you. We want to first welcome you to the, oh yeah, okay, yes, we want to say Happy New Year before I get started. It is wonderful to be here. As we so used to saying in our old tradition, it's just wonderful to be in the house of the Most High. And so we're tremendously happy to be here, and it is a Happy New Year.
Yes.
Ashe.
Yes.
We are the Wose community. And Wose is a community of the way. The way is Ma'at, truth, justice, and righteousness. We believe in the teachings of our elders and our ancestors that the Creator God created the universe and all life, that has placed in each of us a part of the divine spirit. God living in us and through us has given us the right and the power to establish peace and justice in all human life. The true harmony with all creation. We believe in the living faith of our ancestors. Our way is not merely ritual or belief. Our way is a way of life. Ashe.
Ashe.
Before we begin our service today, I'd like to ask that the community that is here, that we hold our brother M.I.T up in prayer. Obviously, you know, M.I.T is not here. We were just saying, just mentioning that if M.I.T was in service today during the moments when it is a little bit quiet, he would pull out some prophetic or profound video that ties into whatever you're saying. And that's just a skill that he has. And we want to send our prayers out to Baba M.I.T, to Mama Doris, and the whole Kebulan family, that we're holding them up in prayer. Ashe.
Mama Ngina, will you lead us in affirmation?
And yes, as I was going to say, as you're putting up the affirmation, I'd just like to say good morning to everyone and Happy New Year, and faith, faith. You know, that's what keeps us going. That's what our ancestors, you know, relied on. That's what we must continue to rely on. And to know, because we know who and whose we are. And that faith is what we have to have in order to weather this storm. And our community affirmation reads as follows. We will know God's truth to be free and self-determined.
Creator, help us to remember the humanity, glory, and suffering of our ancestors, and to honor the struggles of our elders.
Let us strive to bring new vision and life to our people. Let there be peace and harmony among us.
Let us be loving, sharing, and creative. Let us work, study, and listen so we may learn, teach, and cultivate self-reliance.
Grant us power, power, O Holy One, as we struggle to resurrect our hearts and our homeland.
We will raise our children according to the needs of our nation, with discipline, patience, devotion, and courage. We will strive to be the living models of the new direction of our people.
We are an African people.
We are children of God.
Ashe.
Baba Sydney.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And as we move on in our service today, I just want to take a moment to give a couple of shout outs there. As I look up, I see my brother AJ. Just want to give a shout out to AJ. I see Sister Gloria out there, and of course my M.I.T brother Malik and brother Bill. Want to give a shout out to Queen Mother Thurston. I see you in the house, and Mama Rose. I see you there with your beautiful smile. Just lifts my spirit to see you there. And now, as we move into our long in our service, we have I'm gonna call them special guests. They special. They are our guests, you know. But these are some folks who have been in the community for a while. They've come to Wose on several occasions, and we've had an opportunity to do some work together. At this point in time, I'd like to call in my brother and my sister, To Be New. If you can come in and bless us with some of your
Cultural gatherings.
To Be New, excuse me, cultural gatherings. Yes, indeed. Thank you very much. So if you could step forward and bless us with some of your art, we would appreciate it. And afterwards, we will roll right into Baba Tai is going to do the historical tribute. So it's just going to all run smoothly together. To Be New.
Blessings, Minister Sydney, and it's a pleasure to be back here at Bose Community of the Sacred Way. We have a couple of selections that we want to do for you this afternoon. With the first composition I would like to do is an original composition, and it's entitled Jah Jah Really Knows.
Good evening, good afternoon, Mosaic community. And my poem is entitled Our Roots. As you know, all my poems are original. Thank you.
Jah really knows how the flower grows, and he really cares if we pollute the air. Hey, Jah really sees the love for you and me. Can we live free in a world of humanity? Ah, Jah really knows how the flower grows, and he really cares if we pollute the air. Hey, Jah really sees the love for you and me. Can we live free in a world of humanity? Ah.
Our roots. Trees tell the story. The roots are our focus. We mirror the trees. We are the leaves, the branches, the trunk, and the roots. Hold strong onto our roots. The powers that are continue to cut us down, cut us out from our roots so our people cannot grow. Like the trees in the rainforest, trees in the rainforest. Being cut down, cut out from their roots, separated, destroyed. A genocidal plan to control and exterminate the people and the land. We are all connected and capable to unite, resist, stand up, powerful against all forms of genocide.
Jah really knows how the flower grows, and he really cares if we pollute the air. Hey, Jah really sees the love for you and me. Can we live free in a world of humanity? Oh, Jah.
Ashe. Thank you to Be New Cultural Gathering.
Yes.
Baba,
Yes.
Baba Bryant and Mama Zakia. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, we'll say. And good morning to all of you on the left coast, and good afternoon to everybody else. I'm Baba Tai, and I'm here to do the historical tribute. We've come to that time in our service that we call our historical tribute. It's a time that we take out each and every Sunday to pay honor, to pay homage, to pay tribute to some significant, not necessarily famous, but some significant person, place, or event in our or organization in our history. Now, we do that because we know if we don't take the time to remember what we have done, it will be forgotten. And we especially do it because we want our children to know that because we have done great things in the past, they can do great things in the future. Now, this morning, we're carrying on a tradition here at WOSE. My tradition, it's a tradition I'm relatively proud of. It's lasted for quite some time, more than 10 years, not quite 20, I don't think, but more than 10 years. And that tradition is that that I get the honor and the privilege of giving the first historical tribute of the year, okay? And so this is my first historical tribute. So it's the first historical tribute of the year because it's the first Sunday of the year. So here we go. So bear with me 1 second while I set this up. Okay, so, and whenever I do the first historical tribute of the year, I always start with somebody that was first. Now, somebody that was a first. Now, every time that I've done this tribute, I've started with this brother. First, I've said his name. In the last 2 years, I've shown this picture because last year and this year we were on Zoom. And this, of course, is brother Jackie Robinson, who was the first brother to play baseball in the major leagues. And he was the first that I ever knew of. The first Black person that did something, the first one that I knew of was Jackie Robinson. Now, this year, for the first time, I've added a picture. This brother's name is Larry Doby. Now, he was the first brother to play in the American League. Jackie Robinson was in the National League. Brother Larry Doby was in the American League. He had the same problems that Jackie Robinson had. He just didn't get the fame and the fortune, okay? And then after I do my first two brothers, I always, since we're in athletes, I go to a sister. This is Sister Alfia Gibson. She was the first Black person, not woman, the first Black person to win a Grand Slam title, one of the Grand Slam titles. She beat Arthur Ashe. She predated Arthur Ashe. She was Venus and Serena before Venus and Serena were even born. Right? And so then when I get a woman, I say, well, don't just do athletes. So then I go to Sister Lorraine Hansberry, who was the first sister to have a play published on Broadway. And that play, of course, was Raisin in the Sun, right? But then I'm thinking, if I'm going to talk about a woman writer, then why not talk about Phyllis Wheatley, who was the first Black woman to have anything published in this country? But then I think, well, if you're going to talk about a woman, if you're going to talk about somebody that had something published, how about this brother, John Russworm, who had the first Black newspaper published in this country, and it was called Freedom's Journal. But then if I'm going to talk about freedom, then what about this brother? This brother, Crispus Attucks, who was the first person to bleed, to shed blood, the first person to die in the revolution of this country, the freedom of this country. But then if I'm going to talk about blood, we can't forget this brother, Brother Daniel Hale Williams, who was given credit as the first man to have successful open heart surgery. But then when I think about it, we know that we had open heart surgery back in Timbuktu, and some say even back in Kemet. So maybe he wasn't the first. So then I say, well, who was the first Black to do something? Who was the first person that I know to do something? And that brings me to this brother, Matthew Henson. Now, I'm sure that nobody from Kemet or from the Timbuktu ever went to the North Pole. This brother was the first brother to walk on the North Pole. So I'm convinced that he was the first. Now, last year when I did this, I did another first, February 1st, 1960, right? And that's when these brothers, and they are Joseph McNeil, Franklin McCain, Ezel Blair Jr., who changed his name to Jabril Kazan, and David Richmond had the first sit-in the civil rights era in Greensboro, North Carolina. So last year, my brother and I decided we would go to where that first sit-in happened, right? So we went there, and while we were there, I was able to take a picture with some giants in front of the statue of some giants, right? So this year, my brother and I decided for this year's tribute, we would go to Africa. So this is us with Accra in the background. We're in Africa. And we were there with Mama Darnisha. Now, this is a historical tribute, but it's also a commercial. If you have never been to Africa, or even if you have, I recommend that you go with Mama Darnisha. Mama Darnisha gives great tours. They're educational, they're fun, they're cultural. the first class accommodations and the food is good. So if you've never been to Africa and you want to go, hook up with Mama Darnisha. And this was Mama Darnisha's group last year. That's Mama Darnisha, my brother, myself, the Sounds of Mott, Baba David, and Mama Latrice, with even Sankar was there, right on my little brother. And that's not our guide, Nana, on the very end. But while we were there, I was able to take a picture in front of the statue of another giant. And that's the subject of this morning's historical tribute, Brother Kwame Nkrumah.
Yes.
Okay, now, Kwame Nkrumah's story in some ways starts back in 1885. And that's when Europeans divided up the continent of Africa, and they just took it over and divided it up amongst themselves, so that every inch of the continent, except for the little gray area to the right, in what they call the Horn of Africa, which is called Abyssinia, then it's Ethiopia now, but they controlled every other bit of the continent. They controlled it, they ruled it, okay? And that's the world that Kwame Nkrumah was born into on September 21st, 1909. Now, he got his college education in the United States. He even went to Lincoln University, which is a Black college, Black university out in Pennsylvania, went to Lincoln University, and he studied in England. His influences in his early life were W.B. Du Bois and Marcus Garvey, and his mentors were a brother by the name of C.L.R. James, who I actually had the honor and privilege of taking a class from in Washington, D.C. He was a fascinating brother, but that's a different story. And Kwame Nkrumah also learned from George Padmore. In 1947, he returned to the Gold Coast and he started organizing publicly. In 1948, the military veterans were organizing and demonstrating to try to get some rights because they weren't getting any, and the police came and they shot them. They shot and killed. Many people think that that's what started the revolution in Ghana. There were riots after the shooting, and because of the riots, they arrested Kwame Nkrumah. When he got out of jail, he hitchhiked around the country and he was advocating self-government or independence, now, freedom now. He built a power base traveling around, and his base consisted of farmers, trade unions, and women, all of whom had different reasons to be upset at the government, and he was able to pull them all together. In 1949, he formed the Convention People's Party, and their platform was universal suffrage or voting for everybody and self-rule, independence, freedom, or we would call it Kujichagulia. He was from West Africa, didn't speak Swahili, so he wouldn't have used that term, but that's what we call it today, self-determination. Yes. He called his work positive action, which was civil disobedience, boycotts, and strikes, which those of us who went through the civil rights era are really familiar with. In 1950, because of his political work, he was arrested again and sentenced to 3 years. In 1951, because of the pressure that he and his party and the people put on the English government decided they had had enough and they wanted to leave, right? And they wanted to implement this new form of colonialism, neo-colonialism, which meant they wanted to put some figurehead Black person in front of the government and then have that person take orders from them. So they had an election, but little did they know, and unfortunately for them, Kwame Nkrumah won the election. And much like Nelson Mandela years later, he won the election while he was in prison, and they had to let him out so he could take over the government, okay? In 1952, he changed the government and made it so that they would have a prime minister to run the country, and he was elected the first prime minister. And then on March the 6th, 1957, the Gold Coast, which is what the country was declared, he declared that the Gold Coast, which was the name of the country then, was free and independent of all forms of colonialism and neocolonialism. He declared the Gold Coast free and independent, and he changed the name to Ghana, right? And so review, this is what the world looked like before that day. And after that, we had Ghana was the only independent country, with the exception of Ethiopia, as I said, on the continent of Africa. But Ghana was first, and there would be many who would follow, okay? And this is a picture of the celebration that they had on Independence Day. And if you notice, if you see a lot of pictures of, if you see pictures of Black governments, you always see them in you often see them in suits and ties. But these brothers, when they took over, they went in all traditional dress. And you can see Nkrumah's picture in the 3 pictures. Okay. So, and he also changed the flag of Ghana. The Ethiopian flag was green at the top, yellow in the middle, and red at the bottom. It has a picture of the Lion of Judah in the middle. Nkrumah inverted that flag, put the red at the top, which he says stood for the bloodshed that they had given, the blood that they had spilled to gain independence, put yellow in the middle, which he said stood for their mineral wealth, especially gold, and the green at the bottom, which he said meant beauty, agriculture, and abundance, or the land, right? And then he put a black star in the middle. Now we in Wose, of course, associate Black Star with Marcus Garvey and his Black Star lines. But Nkrumah said that this Black Star stood for African freedom, not just in Ghana, but all across the continent of Africa, because that's who Nkrumah was. In 1960, they wrote a new constitution declaring Ghana a republic, which means people vote for the president. And he was elected the first president. So he was the first Black president anywhere on the continent of Africa, because he was, like I said, in the first independent country. Nkrumah was a nationalist and a socialist, but more importantly, he was a Pan-Africanist, which meant he wanted the liberation of Africa everywhere, and he worked for it. He helped form the OAU, the Organization of African Unity. He built things all over the country for people, and wherever we went with Darnisha, people, whenever his name came up, people spoke in glowing terms of what they called Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and all of the things that he built. When we were with our tour guide, he would point, yeah, Nkrumah built that, and Nkrumah built this, and Nkrumah built the other. He is revered in the country of Ghana, and he's called Osajifo, which means redeemer in Akan, his language. In February of 1966, while on a state visit to Vietnam and China, his government was overthrown in a military coup. Now, the generals that overthrew him worked in the interest of the Europeans and the capitalists. And as soon as he was overthrown, they started changing laws to make things easier for the white folks, basically, right? Nkrumah went into exile into Guinea, and he was so honored and so revered across the continent that the president of Guinea, Sékou Touré, made Nkrumah a co-president. Now, who ever heard of that? That never happens, but he was made a co-president. That's how much he was honored. Nkrumah never returned to Ghana. He never went back. He lived in fear of abduction and assassination for the rest of his life. I read that once his cook died suddenly, and from that point on, he started hoarding food and cooking himself because he was afraid that someone would poison him. In 1971, he went to Romania for medical attention, and he died there on April the 27th, 1972, of prostate cancer. Now, I'm a prostate cancer survivor, and I say to all of you brothers that are within the sound of my voice, get checked. Get checked for prostate cancer. It's nothing to play with. And Black men get it quite a bit. Yes. Okay. And so my brother and I were proud to stand in front of the statue of another giant, our brother Kwame Nkrumah. This is his memorial that is there in Accra. That's where the statue is. And inside the memorial is actually the casket of Dr. Nkrumah, and his remains are there. His wife's are there also, okay? And this was on the wall at his memorial. And I just want to read this quote from Nkrumah. He says, "Across the parapet, I see the mother of African unity and independence, her body smeared with the blood of her sons and daughters in the struggle to set her free from the shackles of imperialism. I see the springing of cities of Africa becoming the metropolis of science, learning, scientific agriculture, and philosophy. And I hear mortals resound the echo to the rejoinder, seek ye first political kingdom, and all other things shall be added unto it." And every time I read that, I hear Marcus Garvey saying, "Up, you mighty race, accomplish what you will." Okay, so This morning's service is dedicated to, and I pour a libation for, Brother Dr. Osagyefo Kwame Nkrumah, who was the man who led the struggle against colonialism and guided African countries to freedom on the continent of Africa. May his name live, may his spirit dwell, and may his works be an inspiration to our people forever and ever and ever. Thank you, Will say.
Ashe. Beautiful. Ashe.
Asheo. Asheo.
Asante
Very
sana.
good. Absolutely.
Asheo.
Fantastic.
At our band.
Phenomenal.
Yes.
Most excellent.
And before we move on, I just want to give a couple more shout outs. I see Brother Kalahari out there and Brother Bamadele. I see Sister Gloria. How you doing? I think I mentioned my dear sister, Mother Mama Laretha out there, and glad to see you, giving you your ups and props and all. And Sister Doris, AKA Sugar. Hey, Sugar, how you doing?
Fantastic. Fantastic.
Want to give a shout out to dear minister in down in Southern California, Minister M.I.T. How you doing there, brother? Always good to see your smiling face. Sister Celeste, I see you. And my dear brother Babu Stadi, how you doing out there? Yes. And I'm going to stop there and we're going to move on. Because following that tremendous presentation, some of the culture of the African diaspora is just amazing. The Pan-Africanism, the culture of Pan-Africanism is just amazing. And so along with that, we're going to roll back to the 2V New cultural group. We want to have you do your presentation, do something else for us, bring us some of that live spirit, bring the spirits of our ancestors here with us, get us all together. Ashe, 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 ashe.
Awesome time. That was wonderful.
The mantra, the holy scriptures, the Sanskrit, the ancient oils, the clarified butter, the sandalwood, the myrrh and frankincense. They all give praises and homage to the one we call the omnipotent, the I am that I am, the one and only creator. Om. 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 Made this earth for us to live in peace and harmony. Gotta hear the message, the wonderful message of his love. Not an from above. A love that flows from a miracle and perfect stream. I'm talking about a love supreme. A love supreme. A love
Our Creator, our Lord. Our Creator, our Lord's Spirit resonates in us all. For we have been touched by love that magnifies, connecting our hearts through our hands, watching over the flock, making sure our wandering brings us together. Oneness of spirit is here, there, everywhere, always at the perfect moment. Silence echoes loudest like a quiet storm, towering mighty. Our ancestors are here in spirit. How perfect is this moment? Yes, we have been touched by love that magnifies, connecting our hearts through our hands, connecting our hearts through our hands, connecting our hearts through our hands.
Ashe, so beautiful, beautifully done. I love that song. I love that voice. I love that poetry, the spoken word. You just fantastic, just amazing. Before we move on to 4, I would want to take a moment out. I've just crossed my mind. If I missed the circle during the circle prayer, I would like to ask the community to hold my daughter Zinsley up in prayer.
Yes.
I spoke to her today, and she's going through quite a bit. So if you can hold my daughter up in prayer, I would appreciate that.
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you. At this point in time, it's this is like the one of the most important parts of it, which is a service, which is the sacrifices we make, going into your storehouse to bring forward, to be able to put into our storehouse, to be able to bring things so that we can continue to move. It's it is just necessary, and this is a very, very important point in our service. And I'd like to call if my sister Gloria and Brother Ed could come forth and lead us in our litany of sacrifice. Ashe.
Greetings, Wose. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Baba Sydney. I'd like to give praises and honor to the Most High as we move forward with the Litany of Sacrifice. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Save us, O Holy One, by your name. Vindicate us by your might. Hear my prayer, divine protector. Listen to the words of my mouth. How can we repay the Holy One for the gifts that have been given to us? We will lift up the cup of salvation and call upon the God of our ancestors. We will fulfill our vows to our Creator in the presence of all our people. Gladly, we bring our sacrifices to you. We praise your name, O Amun-Ra, for it is good. Emoja, unity. We shall strive to maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race.
Ujichagalia, self-determination. We shall define, name, create, and speak for ourselves.
Ujima, collective work and responsibility. We shall build and maintain our communities together. Our brothers and sisters' problems shall be ours to solve together.
Ujamaa, cooperative economics. Together we shall build and maintain our own businesses and together profit from them.
Nia, purpose. We shall make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community and the restoration of our people to our traditional greatness.
Kuumba, creativity. We shall do as much as we can in any way we can to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than when we inherit it.
Imani, faith. We will believe in all our hearts in our God. I'm sorry, I can't read the rest of that in my on my
Our
screen.
people, our God, our people, and in the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Ashe.
Ashe.
Sydney?
A small prayer.
If we could bow our heads for a moment. Creator God in heaven most high, we ask that you look upon this community, look upon our community here, look upon our families, look upon each and every one of us. Creator God, we want to send a blessing out to those who have were able to give, and send a blessing out to those who had the will to give but did not have the funds to be able to give. We ask that you continue to bless this community, continue to bless us, continue to lift us up. Creator God, we ask that you be with each and every one of us this afternoon and moving forward. Continue to watch over us, continue to help our community grow. Creator God, we ask that you do these things in your most sacred name. Amun-Ra. Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe.
All right.
Ashe. Oh.
There you go. As I look at the Hosea, I always go in there and try and pull something wise out. And in the book of Ankashaki, on page 65, it says, do not send a wise man, and I will put in old woman, in a small matter, when an important matter is waiting. Happy is the heart of him who has made a judgment before a wise man. A wise master who asks advice. The house stands forever. A wise man seeks a friend. A fool seeks an enemy.
Ashe.
The children of a fool wander in the streets, but those of the wise are always with them. A wise man is one who knows what goes on around him. Ashe.
Ashe.
And as I bring forward the speaker today, it leads me right into that a wise man is one who knows what goes on around him, not so isolated, not putting yourself up on a pedestal and just kind of putting down dictations, you should do this, you should do that, but someone who has actually lived, someone who is around, someone that I am grateful to be able to call a friend. At this point in time, I would like to turn the microphone and the sanctuary, the podium over to a dear friend of mine, a wise man, brother M.I.T. Mallie Latham. If you could come forth and share with us some of the knowledge that you have gained. Tell us what is going on out there. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, if you could put your hands together and bring forth our message for the day, and brother M.I.T. Mallie Latham.
Good morning and good afternoon to our Wosay nationwide family. My brother really makes it simple, but he knows he's not being fully expressive when he just says, yeah, if somebody has the honor of knowing as a friend, when he knows, first of all, the honor is mutual. And secondarily, he's family and ain't nothing he can do about it. And his mama told me that, so I know it's official. What I want to speak to today and what I want to share today has to do with the new year. A lot of times we say Happy New Year, and we really don't consider what it's supposed to mean. So let's talk about this new year and whether it really is a happy opportunity. Is that okay?
Yes.
I'm not suggesting a negative. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, as some people might say. And it isn't that I'm not happy, but a lot of times we say stuff and we really don't consider what is supposed to be the purpose of why we say that. And you know, one of the images I have in my mind is Minister Alicia. Yeah, I'm gonna give you your props, Minister, because when you see her face and she says something, you can tell there's something meaningful behind it. She ain't just saying something just to be saying something. Now, I ain't saying other people don't do that, but when I think of saying to someone that I believe should be considerate, something that should be meaningful, then it ought to be honest. Is that okay? It ought to be honest. And to keep it real, when you consider 2021, I would have to say I'm happy to see 22.
All right, come on now.
Yet,
Tell the truth.
when I say Happy New Year, is it really honest?
Okay.
Now, I have a phrase that I kind of updated that I've heard a lot of times. I'd be the first to admit to you, I don't know where it originally comes from, but there's a phrase. It says, men and women plan and God laughs.
I say.
Come on now.
Yeah, see, men and women plan and God laughs.
Break it down.
There is a sense that we have way more control or way more influence than we really actually have.
Come on now.
And what tends to bring it into focus is times like these. At the beginning of a new year, you realize the past year was full of things you probably wouldn't have predicted, you wouldn't have prophesied, and you didn't expect.
Right.
Now, part of that, I have like the memory that this year, about this time, we were practicing, for me, was the first time that practice of getting getting our requests and resolutions about how we were expecting the new year to be. how we were going to plan
Yes.
and accomplish certain goals.
Yes.
And see, I would just say, when I opened up that list that I had put on my altar, I mean, you know, I was quite proud of it. I was looking at it going, yeah, I'm going to be progressive. I'm going to grow, you know, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to do a lot of stuff. You know, that on the list was part of being an M.I.T.
Yeah, come on.
And I did do that. I started that process.
Say.
But I'm going to get real with you and say something personal.
All right.
On that list wasn't, I'm going to get diagnosed with cancer. And I'm telling y'all the truth. Okay, that's something personal.
Yeah.
On that list wasn't that I would have to bury another niece.
Right.
Tough to say out loud with y'all, but very real. Because it's evidence about that men and women plan, but God laughs. And even though that can seem to be a sad or downing type of awareness, it's also real.
Yeah.
Now, on that hand,
Yeah.
that sounds like bad news,
Right.
but y'all might have not heard.
Come on now.
See, you might have not known. So let me give you the memo.
Come on.
That's not bad news.
All right. Come
In
on.
fact, it's an opportunity for new news that is exciting news, that is a blessing position for us.
All right now. Come on. What you saying?
See, I know that says, wow, well, how could it is?
Come on.
Because in that information about stuff we ain't really in charge in
Right.
is a practicing principle that's important for folks like us.
Come on.
I didn't even know that the opening song was going to be mine.
Okay now.
I didn't even know that ongoing through this service, they were going to be talking about faith.
Come on.
Now, you know, that's the type of divine
Yes.
that we are in business with.
All right.
That's the type of relationship we have. Minister Alicia, you know about confirmation.
All right.
And
now.
see, that's what I like.
Come on.
Is that I'm engaged with a divine presence.
Come on now.
Yeah, they Charles in charge.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
it is their call, it's their will, but they let us in on it.
Come on.
Because here it is,
Yeah.
the theme that I'm talking about for 2022
Yeah.
is around faith.
Ashe. Come on now.
Faith,
Yeah.
because that
Every day.
is the new news.
Every day.
That is the foundation for why this is a happy new year. See, if you don't know, let me explain this to you.
Every day.
If you don't have faith,
Yes. Every
then
day.
how do you get up
Yes.
and say, I'm looking forward to the next day?
Come on now.
Where does that come from?
Yeah.
If you don't have faith, how do you turn what seemingly looks like a challenge, what seems to be an obstacle, that seems to be something to struggle over,
Come on now.
into a triumph? Y'all don't hear me.
Come on. Now.
Y'all don't feel me.
Say that, brother.
Because
Say that.
see,
Yes.
that's what those of faith
Yeah.
understood.
Yeah.
When we talked about ancestors
Yeah.
and the beliefs they had,
Come on now.
that's what they used
Ashe.
to be in circumstances that would have destroyed other people,
Yes.
to be in circumstances that would have held folks down,
Yes.
made you say, I ain't got no hope.
Yes.
All right. Come on now.
Ain't make it.
Faith
Come on.
Yes.
builds us up.
Every
Yes.
day.
Come on.
Faith
Well,
lifts us up.
Yes.
Faith puts us in a position to look at something that's seemingly impossible
Yes.
and know that it's very achievable.
Yes.
Come on
So
now.
that's good news.
Yes.
Come on now.
Maybe you didn't hear it.
Every day.
Maybe you ain't known that.
Oh,
But
yeah.
understand, that's why I can smile today. That's why I have genuine happiness.
Yeah.
It ain't a put on.
Yeah.
Because when you get news that you ain't expecting,
Right.
see, and I was told that a lot of things reveal who you really are. See, and I found
Yeah.
that in spite of
Come on.
and regardless of anything that appears to be an obstacle,
Yeah.
is just another test
Yes.
Right.
that the divine has provided me the means to pass.
Say that. Say that.
Come on now.
Every day.
Come on now.
Every day.
Come on back. Come on, say it again. Say it
See,
again.
when you've been prepared,
Well,
Come on now.
the SAT can't scare you.
Right.
When you've been prepared,
come on
see,
now.
you show up for the MCAT.
Well,
When you've been prepared, you can handle anything that appears to be a challenge.
Say that.
Hey, come on.
yeah.
Because that's just another new opportunity to practice faith.
I said,
And see, I ain't saying something that I read about.
Come on now.
It might be in a few books.
Right.
I'm not saying something that, you know, somebody from the pulpit convinced me of.
Yeah.
Okay
I'm
now.
talking about something that I am a first-hand witness of.
Yes.
See, and nothing teaches you better than to witness it and experience it for yourself.
Yes.
Because that's what faith is about.
Yes.
You don't convince people of faith.
Right.
You can't get people to get faith.
Yes.
You have to experience it for yourself in real life.
Come on now. Come on.
When you get up
Yes.
and you get down,
Well,
faith carries you through.
All right. now.
Not because of something somebody else told you,
Right.
but when you know what you know,
Come on.
that you know what you know. You know what the old folks say to you. You know what they tell you in the church out. Don't act like you ain't heard that before. When you know what you know.
Come on now.
See, you ain't got to be convinced.
come on.
You don't have to have somebody get up somewhere and say, this is why you should believe. I know for myself.
I said, come
A
on now.
test creates a testimony
Well,
because what I have been through speaks for itself.
Yes.
Come on
Yes.
now.
come on now. Come on.
Come on. Take your time. Take your time.
See,
We
It's a
with
happy
you.
new
see,
year. Happy
that's a
new year.
happy new year.
We with
Just
you.
in case you didn't know.
Come on now.
That's why I could dance around the pulpit.
Right now.
Because it ain't about no faking. It's because I know that there's a divine presence
Yes.
that's got my back.
Yes.
Because that's the way my life has been.
Yes.
See, me and Sydney, one thing that makes us family is a shared mutual experience. We're just not family for word's sake.
Right.
We've stood in positions of family with one another.
Yeah.
I've had to stand there when he had to bury his mother and his
Yes.
father.
Yes.
Yeah.
He stood there when I had to bury my mother and father. We have stood in places that only family can stand there for each other. And that's a testimony that faith will carry you way further
Yeah.
than you can believe.
Say that.
Than you can
Yeah.
expect.
Yes. Yes.
Because there's no other explanation. Now, I could make up some stuff,
Come on.
Come on.
We
now.
know you
but
good.
boy, that wouldn't be honest.
Well,
You understand? See, the truth is real simple. I was told you only got to work hard when you try to make up a story. That's what you know why you know about little kids. When they faking, oh man, they got to work hard. See, and brothers find that out too. Because when we deal with women,
come on now.
yeah, see, when we deal with women, what pulls our cover off is then we got to do the aromas and we got to say, well, actually, and then we got to figure out left brain, please save me. Because when you have to make up something,
Well,
that's work. But see, when you get honest, when you can keep it real, it's simple. It's not really that challenging. In fact, less said, more said.
well,
See,
come on.
I learned that early on because I got 6 sisters. And boy, if you ever want to get the truth brought to you, whether you want it or not, have some sisters.
Well,
Come on.
But understand, those lessons in life prepare us for what life is really about.
Hey, come on now.
See, that's the thing.
Yes.
come on now.
That's what makes this happy news.
No, not.
Because see, I don't need to convince y'all
Yes.
that this is a happy new year for me.
Yes.
What I want to do is share the happiness.
All right.
See, I want you to understand what brings me to this point in my life is the smile that none of y'all could pay for.
Hey,
See, what brings me to this point in my life is the things that the divine and only the divine could provide
Yes.
for me.
Yes.
See, I'm not a prophet.
Yes.
come on.
I'm not one of the people that can see the hand over your life. But boy, I can see it in mine. See, I cannot explain standing here today, being in front of y'all by simply talking about coincidence. Ain't that the word? Coincidence? But you know, come on now, because I got to wink when I say that, because it just can't be explained. If I'm gonna keep it real, see, there has to be something greater than me, larger than me, more powerful than me, that creates opportunities for blessings.
Say that.
And I want you to know about that opportunity. That's what Happy New Year is about. It is a new opportunity for you to experience a relationship so much greater than you got right now. I'm talking about you right now. See, because that ought to lift you up. See, because life is more than simply going to a job and collecting a paycheck. You know, life is more than paying bills. Life is more than just sitting, waiting for the next day that you go to somewhere that you really don't want to be at.
You're telling the truth, man.
Oops.
Tell the truth.
I told you the message might be a little pointed, but I'm telling you that's good news. Because I feel that there is more than we can be possibly aware at the time.
Every day
is good news.
Every day.
See, I got something I can get a fresh start with. I got something I can look forward to, even though men and women praying and God laughs. Okay? Because the good news is faith teaches me that whatever it is within the plans of the divine, it's all good. It's all good. Oh, maybe y'all didn't hear that. Should I say that again? Say it again, my brother. The good news is that whatever the divine has in store for me and for you, it's going to be all good. It can be a challenge. It may mean that I'm going to have to face some things that I'd rather not. It may mean that it might be uncomfortable. But trust and believe that faith is going to get you through it. Not just bring you to it, but get you through it. And when you come out of it, you're going to be a better person.
Come on, say it again. Come on now. Take your time.
See, that's really good news. Just in case you didn't know. Understand, one of the things about the gift of a new year is the gift of new things. There's some stuff that has to be taken care of. Don't think this don't come without some responsibility. There's some stuff to do, there's some stuff to undo, and there's some stuff to be determined. That's the future stuff that we will either accept it and grow from it, or sit there and struggle. I mean, you do have that option. I choose to celebrate. See, one of the good things about getting in older age, and I ain't talking about old. I might not hear that, and you sure didn't see this. But understand, part of the challenge is that as you mature, that's the right word. I had to have my older brothers and sisters, you know, they had to choose the right word. As we mature, there's an opportunity that you get to see clarity when you did before. Because that's the beauty which my brother was talking about with wisdom. See, wisdom allows you to use the experience of things you have addressed before in a way and manner that makes it work for you now. Oh, maybe you didn't get See,
Tell us again.
Baba Tai went to the historical tribute, not for the purpose for us to be entertained, but to give us an understanding and overstanding that because of what has occurred before, what has occurred in the past, the story, our story, it provides us the tools to be successful now.
Come on now.
If you can't use what you've already gone through, then you have missed the real message. It's got to be that which you have experienced, that which you have become aware of that serves your goals today. That's good news. That it touches you now. And it lifts you now. It builds you now. It takes you from where you have started and has moved you to what other folks in the ministry will say is a higher form of grace. You didn't earn it. You can't buy it. You're not in charge of it, but you sure can benefit from it. See, because it takes you from where you thought you were limited to, that lifts you to a new state of peace.
Say that.
So, to honor the new being, I will issue this challenge that you say it's a happy new year, then how new will you be? Because it does take a new understanding of life. It does take a new way to look at life. It does take a new way to live your life. If it's not new, then you might have missed the message. The message is that we have a history of faith to stand on. Yet, it is going to only help us if we can use it in the new. We got to be able to talk to some young folk that don't have the history that we got. Come on now. We got to talk to some folks who may never ever been interested in the things we talk about. Because that's on us to present it in a new manner that they can hear.
Come on now. Come on. Take your time. We listening.
Come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. We say we want to expand. That's what we say. We say we want to grow. And I mean, the reality is, no, it's not a whole bunch of young folks. If we're really talking about a future, if we're really talking about meeting the challenge of a new opportunity, our expression of that should be new too.
All right. Come on now.
Oh, what? It gotta be new too. It don't mean you discard anything from the past. It don't mean you even ignore stuff you did before. What it does mean is because if you understand faith, it has worked. It has worked. Otherwise, how do you explain you? Oh, not me. I know I got here. I'm talking about how do you explain you? What? All y'all had a good, easy way? I mean, I might be in the wrong room because I thought I was surrounded by folks who understood there's a struggle that you have to wage. There's a war, a battle that we have to engage in. And that should take some new moves. Anybody who's played chess, anybody who knows anything about dominoes, if you're using the same strategy you had in 1982, you might need an update because that ain't going far in 2022. I'm just here to tell you, just in case you might not have heard that. And I'm challenging everyone who is about this environment that we claim we own. Woo! See, because there's some ordinances this is all built on. See, there's what I understand to be ordinance of faith.
Come on now.
One of them has to do with the virtues, One of them has to do with M.I.T. Another one has to do with Saba. And the other one has to do with those 42 declarations. See, there should be something in you that has gotten new with you that you can say, that ain't me no more. Uh-oh. Did I go too fast? Am I pushing y'all? I'll slow down. Understand? Because since I don't take it for granted, it might be another time for my message. I'm speaking it all in now. Let me just tell you ahead of time. Yes, because I'm not assuming that it might be another opportunity, you know. And as I was sharing with my brother, I'm going to have in 22 the before I go. Before I go, let me make this a part of the record that if you are not prepared to be new about what you are doing, then maybe you're not prepared for a new year. You just might not be. That might be something you might have to look at. What I'm saying is the good news is that we are all being afforded that new opportunity.
Come on.
See, that's the thing. It ain't something that only I get. It's not something that is only privy to the ministers. It ain't something that just the old folks can understand. This is an equal opportunity. Is that correct? It's an equal opportunity that we can be new. That we can be new beings. Oh, yeah. That's a new catchphrase. You can be new beings. Not Nubians, but new beings. Where you look at life with a different perspective. That you have expectations that just wasn't there before. I hope I ain't asking for too much. I hope I'm not saying something that might be beyond your reach. I don't think so. But understand this last piece.
Come on now.
There's this thing I got on the email that was for me to bring in the new year. I have one of them faith-based families. You know, I like Sydney. There's way more tradition in the Christian church that I can't accept nor acknowledge, but it's there. And one of my favorite aunties, of my many favorite aunties, send me a thing about blessings. And I want to share that with you as I close. It spells out the words blessing.
Okay.
And the B is to be present. The L is to let the day flow with grace. The E is to expect nothing but give all. The S is to surrender and stay open. The next S is to speak only kindness. And then the I is to impart love. And then the end goes, never forget you are not alone. And then this G says, give so you may receive. That's a mock principle. And that final S, see the goodness in others.
Say that.
If I can impart, if I can share anything with you, and that's more personal than the health diagnosis I have to consider, is that through it all, it's a blessing.
Come on now.
Through it all. Whether I might feel sad tomorrow, whether the tears may come, I know for a fact it's nothing greater that will hold me down as long as the divine got my back. You see, in Mallie faith, we got a shirt. There's a song in the Christian faith about blessed assurance. Because see, I know that he's alive because he's alive in me as much as he is alive in thee.
All right.
The message has been given. And as I started out in the Hussein, it says, do not send a wise man in a small matter when an important matter is waiting. Shay, the important matter is waiting. The important matter is waiting is to bring you to the spirit of my eye. It is to bring you into the faith. It is to bring you into M.I.T. It is to bring you into what we need. Shay, am I alone? Is somebody out there with me? Am I here by myself?
Nah, we're here.
Right now, what we're about to do is we're going to open this up. If you can open up your ears, open up your heart, open up your mind, open up your soul, open up your spirit, and join this movement. Shay, to join this movement, is there anybody out there, anyone who has heard within the sound of my voice, who heard this powerful message out there who wants to become a part of this movement? Shay, just put something in the chat. Hold your hand up. Just speak up. Just say, I'm here. I want to be a part of this. Is there anyone? One person. Shay. Shay. Well, the message has been given. And the message has been received. Shay. Let's see. All right. I'm looking. I'm holding on. I'm looking to see if there's anybody at all. All right. Okay. Well, like I say, we opened the church. We opened the doors of the church, and we're waiting. It's open. So right now, if it's all right, I'd like to bring this to a close, and maybe we can sing "Lift Every Voice." If you guys could be there and help out. And I just want to say, as we move forward, that we always start off and say it's important that we make sure we're on mute. And even though we are singing "Lift Every Voice," if we're muted, it sounds much better than having all the voices coming in. Shay, are y'all with me right there? All right. Okay, so click your mute button and then join in. Here we go. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven rings. Ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as a glistening sky. Let it resound loud as a rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. And as we roll back to a time when I was coming up, a time that my brother, Minister M.I.T. Mallie was saying in my grandfather's Christian church. Come on. When we brought the service to a close, as he said, we want that spirit. Yes. We want the spirit of the Most High to be with you. Yes. Yes. And he would sing something like, Ra be with you. I want to say, Ra be with you. Ra be with you until we meet again. And as we stand on those shoulders of the ancestors, we follow in those footsteps in the sand.
We know that we are one people,
One people.
with one faith,
One faith.
one aim,
One aim.
one destiny,
One destiny.
one love.
One love.
We want to call on the name that we've called on for so many years. We let us all say, Amen.
Amen, Rob.
You are the most beautiful
Bless you.
people on the face of this earth.
Bless you.
I
Bless
tell you.
you. Bless you.